I recently faced the worst Karen I've ever met. Picture this. The HOA president broke into my mailbox, then faked a bee allergy to blame me. She actually called it a mailbox inspection. She had no clue I caught her faking it on camera for the entire neighborhood to see. But you know what? Let me back up a sec, because the real story started a little earlier, and trust me, it's a ride. Before we get into the weeds, let me know where you're listening from today. My name's Kyle Cruz, and I'll be honest, I've always believed a man's home is his castle. Not a literal castle, just a normal house. A place where you can wear mismatched socks and not get a 30-page rule book about it slid under your door in the middle of the night. Our little patch of suburbia was supposed to be just that. Peaceful, full of green lawns and matching mailboxes. Then Karen Johnson got herself elected president of the HOA. After that, quiet was replaced by the squeak of her golf cart tires. Her version of a royal procession, I guess. Violation notices became our new soundtrack. Karen didn't just enforce the rules. She invented them, edited them, and published them, all targeted at whoever crossed her path that week. My wife, Heather, is the brains of our operation. While I get fired up, she gets strategic. She manages our house, the budget, the security cameras, all with the precision of a Swiss watch. And she's a trained first aid instructor, which, thanks to my occasional DIY mishaps, comes in handy more than I'd like to admit. The war with Karen started quietly, as these things always do, with a piece of paper. One Tuesday, I came home to find a crisp, white envelope taped to our front door. Every single house had one, official-looking, with a cheesy, smiling sun over a hedge. The letter was short and smug. Effective immediately, the HOA was going to conduct random mailbox hygiene and security inspections, all in the name of combating mail theft. Never mind that nobody'd ever had mail stolen around here. The letter ended with a line that managed to sound both cheerful and threatening. A clean mailbox is a happy mailbox. Heather read the letter and immediately went stone cold. They can't do that, she said flatly. That's a federal offense. And she was right. She dove into the HOA documents, pulled up the property covenants. Nothing, absolutely nothing in there about the HOA having rights to touch anyone's mailbox. Our mailboxes are federal property. Messing with them is a felony. She made this up, Heather said, frowning at Karen's house across the street. The curtains twitched. Karen was watching. She always was. This wasn't about mailbox hygiene, and everyone knew it. This was about Karen flexing her power, seeing who'd push back, seeing who'd fold. I watched as neighbors quietly accepted their letters. Mr. Henderson, 2 doors down, just slumped his shoulders and went back inside. The Garcias, the new couple next door, looked terrified. No way they'd risk a fight before they'd even finished unpacking. Karen's strategy was simple: rule by fear. The rules were so invasive, so absurd, that most people just complied. My first thought was to storm across the street and give Karen a piece of my mind right on her perfect lawn. But Heather saw the setup. If I lost my temper, she'd record it, twist the story, and email it to the entire block. We don't get angry, we get organized, Heather said, already planning the counterattack, probably opening a new spreadsheet. That look in her eye always means someone's about to lose a battle to logistics. For the next week, we played it cool, walked the dog, smiled at neighbors, and watched Karen cruise by in her golf cart, hazard lights on for dramatic effect. Cute cart, I called once. Does it come with a warrant? She scowled, rolled on. We let the war go to paper. Karen had declared war on our privacy and peace of mind. But this time, she'd picked the wrong family. The thing is, Karen hadn't always been the dictator of our block. She started as the treasurer. No one else wanted the job. At first, it seemed like a good thing. She balanced the budget, made sure landscapers showed up. But then came the little notes. Your trash cans were visible 31 minutes after the approved time, or the blue of your shutters isn't on the HOA-approved pallet. The president, a laid-back guy named Bob, just wanted the pool clean. He got tired of Karen's games and quit. The vice president moved away. And just like that, Karen took over. I remember the day Karen's power really hit home. Neighbor Nate's 3 little kids loved to chalk up their driveway. Unicorns, stick figure families, rainbow suns. Then Karen rolls up, clipboard in hand, starts snapping pictures. The next day, Nate got a $100 fine for unauthorized graffiti. He tried to fight it, brought the rules to a meeting. Karen didn't even look. It falls under Section 9, maintaining aesthetic uniformity. That was it. Nate paid. After that, his driveway was just gray, sad concrete. Same story with the Millers, 20 years in the neighborhood. Mrs. Miller loved her garden gnome, Gus. 4 feet tall, pointy red hat, a fishing pole. Karen decided Gus was a violation. Lawn ornaments limited to 18 inches. Must be naturalistic. No mythological creatures. They were devastated. Gus disappeared into their garage. Every time I walked past that empty patch of dirt, it made me angry. It was just a stupid gnome, but it was their stupid gnome. Meanwhile, Karen paid $25 bounties for snitch pics. Smiles died, doors shut. Heather and I managed to keep our heads down, but the mailbox rule was a step too far. It wasn't about paint color or ornaments anymore. It was an invasion. So, we had a choice. Put up with it like everyone else, or finally say no. We watched Karen bully our neighbors for too long, stayed silent while she ruled by fear. But now she was at our door. My first plan was dumb. Just watch the mailboxes at night, see what Karen did. For 3 nights, I sat in my car, feeling like a bad detective, sipping cold coffee. Nothing happened until the 3rd night. Karen rolled up, lights off, dressed in black, holding a master key. She opened the entire panel, shining a flashlight into every mailbox. I couldn't stay hidden. I walked right up to her. Looking for something, Karen? She jumped, flashlight flying. You're spying on me, she cried, the hypocrisy thick enough to choke a horse. I pointed at the open mailboxes. Where did you get that master key? She claimed an old postman gave it to the HOA. Perfectly legal, she said. I called her out. You're committing a federal crime right now. She pulled out her phone, suddenly acting scared, hitting record. You're threatening an HOA official, she shrieked. Barry, her loyal crony, showed up, clearly a setup. He tried to play hero, but when he shoved me, I tripped and scraped my elbow. Heather's voice boomed from our porch camera. Step back. This is recorded. Karen sobbed for the phone. Barry puffed up, but when I pointed out the cameras, he started backing down. I came home that night, ripped sleeve, bleeding chin, feeling like an idiot. She set me up, I told Heather. Barry was there. The whole thing's on video, but only after she provoked me. Heather just said, her move. Now it's ours. We researched all night. The laws, the Postal Inspection Service, the whole 9 yards. Next day, Heather called Postal Inspector Ramos. She explained the mailbox inspection, the master key, Karen's history. Ramos listened, then said, an accusation isn't enough. What I need is incontrovertible evidence. Video of her opening your mailbox and tampering with it. That was our blueprint. We couldn't booby trap anything. No paint bombs, no glitter. But a decoy? That was legal. My beehives gave us the idea. Not real bees, Heather insisted. But a decoy box, with drone bees, they can't sting, a speaker with angry bee sounds, and a big yellow warning inside the mailbox. Warning, live bees. Do not open. We set up multiple cameras, one in the garage, one hidden in the kiosk trim, an audio mic in the bushes. Everything recorded to a hard drive. We placed the decoy inside, warning label taped to the inside of our mailbox door. For 2 days, nothing. Then, at dusk on day 3, Karen arrived. Alone, no clipboard, no backup. She opened our mailbox, stared at the bright yellow warning. She hesitated, then reached past the sign and pulled out the box. She popped the lid, and chaos erupted. The speaker roared with 1,000 angry bees. Yellow chalk puffed in her face. A dozen harmless drones flew out. Karen screamed like she was being murdered, stumbling and flailing across the lawn. She collapsed, clutching her throat, gasping for air, claiming anaphylactic shock. Neighbors flooded out. Barry arrived. 911 was called. Heather calmly told the dispatcher. She is conscious and breathing, claims it was a bee sting. The EMTs checked Karen. 99% oxygen, normal blood pressure, no stings. She refused the EpiPen. The bluff had failed. Karen was still trying to play the victim. The next night, the HOA called an emergency meeting. Karen showed up in a ridiculous neck brace, milking it for sympathy. She told her version: vicious neighbor, weaponized mailbox, near-death experience. Barry demanded we be evicted. Heather quietly set up her laptop and projector, then played the video. Karen, clear as day, reading the warning, opening the box, the whole performance. Then the paramedics report. Normal vitals, no stings, EpiPen refused. Then neighbor Nate stood up, shaking, but brave. He read Karen's texts out loud. Best part is I'm not even allergic to bees. I'll just say I am, and they'll be run out by the end of the week. That broke the dam. Mrs. Miller demanded her gnome back. People started shouting, sharing their own stories of Karen's bullying. And then, in the back, Postal Inspector Ramos stood up, didn't say a word, just watched. The neighbors voted, right there, to remove Karen and the board. It was unanimous. Ramos stepped forward, handed Karen a citation for mail tampering, told her she'd be hearing from his legal department. Her power crumbled in seconds. Faced with legal trouble, ostracized by the community, Karen and her husband moved out. We never saw her again. The new board was neighbor Nate. First act, the Gus and Sidewalk Chalk Act, protecting garden gnomes and kids' art. The block parties returned, people smiled again. Even the bees got a happy ending. I donated them to a local organic farm. That weekend, Mrs. Miller led a project to plant a pollinator garden around the mail kiosk, a patch of lavender, bee balm, and coneflowers where ugly bushes used to be. I stood back and watched my neighbors, my friends, turning a symbol of fear into a patch of life and color. We'd stood up to a bully and won back our home. You know what? Justice is sweet, and sometimes it even comes with flowers. Now, here's where I hand it over to you. Who was right? Who was wrong? Was it justice, karma, or just neighbors finally having enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because honestly, the debate on power, community, and standing up for what's right, that's one I'd love to hear.